All right. My name is Emmanuel Jordan, and I am joined by my co host.
Justin Fraction.
And you are listening to the first episode of the Tech NT podcast, where two tech geeks dive into the latest tech news, gadgets, and trends. So, whether you're an iPad kid or an OG tech user, this is going to be the podcast where you can get all the latest tech tea and basically just keep up with what's happening in the tech world. So, for this episode, the tech tea topic of the day is going to be Apple versus Android. And Apple fans, before you peel out of your skin, we are not going to be deciding which one is
We are
better.
not that bad. Do not mock us.
Okay, couldn't even finish my thought, but
I heard where you were going.
So okay, Justin saved what I was going to say. Android is better. But we'll be covering some of the latest news coming from Apple and from companies that produce products that use some Android operating systems. So we're going to run down some of the topics we'll be covering. All right. So Apple stopping production on the Vision Pro.
Good.
Google could potentially lose Android.
Oh.
Samsung copying Apple's designs.
Of course.
And the Galaxy S25 Ultra that will launch next year.
You know, I've actually heard good things about that. I'm excited to talk about it.
I have too, and I think I'll be switching over when it comes out. But Justin, what topics did you bring to the table?
We're going to talk about the MacMini M4, the MacBook Pro 2024, AMD's new processor, and the Amazon Kindle ColorSoft.
Okay. Interesting. So before we get into it, are you an Android, which I'm sure people know by now, but are you an Android user or an Apple user?
Why would I ever want to use an Android? Anything?
Oh, wow.
No, I have an Android TV.
Okay.
That runs on Android, but that's pretty much it. I'm an Apple guy. I've been using Apple products since the very first iPhone, actually. And even before that, I was playing around with Macs and whatnot. But, I am a PC person. So just with phones, I'm strictly Apple.
Okay. Now I'm the same, but the opposite. I've been an Android fan, Android user since middle school, actually. I actually have my first phone. It was the Kyocera. I don't know what the name of the phone is, but Virgin Mobile. It was back. Yeah, this was a T at the time. Like the QWERTY keyboards, those. That was everything. Yes.
You couldn't have survived in the early 00s.
I know.
I had my Nokia. Wow. I had a Nokia phone. I had a couple of them. I got the very first iPhone when I was living in New York, working at ABC. And my roommates were like, "What is that? Why would you even want that? That's so stupid." Look at it now.
And I'm sure they all have iPhones. I'm sure.
It's funny because technology moves weirdly. Like I was in New York and I would come to visit my family in Pennsylvania and I would see people with like technology from maybe like 2 years before. But as time went on, it like slowly moved across the state and people just started adopting more and more Apple products. It was kind of cool.
Okay, interesting. So speaking of adopting Apple products, the first topic we're going to cover is Apple stopping production on the Vision Pro. Not too surprising, but Apple might hit pause on the Vision Pro production by the end of 2024. Why? They've got more Vision Pros piling up than the demand. They've also got enough parts to meet whatever they're expected to sell for the rest of the year, but they're also considering working on a more affordable version, potentially iPhone powered, which might launch in late 2025 or early 2026. But as we all know, that $3,000 price tag has kept most people from actually purchasing the Vision Pro. So they might try to, lower the price for the next model. But fingers crossed.
I saw the price of that and I knew it was going to bomb because you could go out and do many similar things with products from other companies.
Yes. The Oculus. Because did you have the first?
I have the second Oculus. Yeah.
Okay. I had the first one, and the first one actually was powered by your phone. So it's funny that they are considering like using that design. But yeah, I had the first Oculus and I didn't use it for too long, but I'm really not surprised by this news at all. I mean, the price tag, who really can afford that? I heard that there wasn't a lot of like app developers that actually made apps for the Vision Pro. So it was just kind of a waste. But how do you feel about this news and them stopping production? I know we're not surprised, but what do you think this
Well,
means?
I had the Oculus 2. I also had the Oculus Quest, which was the portable version. I've had that a couple of times.
Oh,
I wanted to
okay.
play
So
with
well,
it because
so
I
well.
like playing. Yeah, well, no, not well. If it was 3,500, whatever that price is, I wouldn't have had it.
Okay.
That's the first problem. And like the idea that you could like work on your desktop. There's
Yeah.
a program called Virtual Desktop, and you can do that on any Oculus device.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like I don't know why they thought that would be so hugely adopted at the price point that it had when there's already competition that has lower pricing.
Yeah, Apple was really late to the market with this one, which I know they like to take their time, they like to perfect things, and they are known for that, and I will give them that. But I mean, it's just the price point was really surprising. I mean, do you feel like, because I know with Apple users, they basically buy anything that Apple puts out. So do you think
Of course.
they expected more people like that Apple cult following to actually purchase this? And do you think they were maybe more surprised and that might have changed some things behind the scenes?
With the cost of things right now and the amount of money people have to spend just to live, I
Yes.
feel like their timing was a bit off. And
Yeah.
it was just starting to ramp up back then. But even people were talking about it in the media, like, Christmas is going to be hard this year. And that was last year.
Yeah.
It's just the wrong time to expect any of their usual people like myself to just jump on any
Mhm.
product that they had.
Yeah. And so last thing before we move on to the next topic, if they do come out with a cheaper one, would you buy it?
Yeah,
Okay. Now, how often would you use it? Because how often do you use your
that's the
Oculus?
thing. I don't even use it anymore.
Okay.
That's the other issue. It's like VR is one of those things I think people experiment with
Hmm.
and then they put it down. Like I was watching videos on YouTube of people who got like the Apple Vision Pros. Like I'm going to wear it for 24 hours. I'm going to wear it
Hmm.
for 48 hours. And I'm like, really? Good luck with that. Will you ever pick it up again? Because it's just so much easier just to turn your computer on than to go and get this device and put it on your head. If you're
Yeah.
traveling, you can, like watching a movie, that might be fun. But then you look like it, like I don't know what, like a robot. What uncanny valley
Yeah.
weird eyeball thing while sitting on an airplane, and your wife's like, "Hey, what you doing?" You're like, "I'm watching the Need for Speed or whatever it is. I don't know what it's called, but yeah,
Mhm.
it just looks awkward." But have you seen these new glasses that look much, much, much closer to glasses?
Yes, I have. I have. The what are they called? What are they called? The Apple glasses? Or are we talking about the Meta glasses?
The Meta had one, and then another company had one after, which
Yeah.
had like a really great field of view on it, and the lenses were not you know flat. I forgot what the other one is,
Okay.
uh, but it could have been better. But until they get this device to look more discreet, I don't think
Mm,
people are going to adopt it and use
yeah.
it as frequently.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, the glasses, that's a whole nother thing. I'm fine with my glasses. I don't need a camera. I don't need Surrey in my ears. But with the Vision Pro, yeah, I think it'll definitely be a while before, that kind of goes where Apple wants it to go. And even when I had my Oculus, it was never comfortable. I would watch movies
No,
on it and I could get maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40 before like my head started to hurt. So, and now it's in my closet collecting dust. So,
yeah, and also it did not like my nose, and
oh
I hated that.
really? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
That like they also have to be really adaptable no matter what Apple makes, not
Hmm.
just for people that wear glasses like us, but for
Yes,
people with different face shapes as well.
yes, that is so true. So, Justin, let's popcorn. Bring us one of your topics. What do you got?
Oh, you want to talk about the super amazing, awesome, crazy, bestest computer in the entire world for an entry level computer, the Mac Mini M4 with the Apple M4 processor, 10 CPUs, 10 GPU cores, 16 gigabytes finally of RAM. Unfortunately, the storage still starts at 256. Not great there. I guess they just
Yeah.
sort of expect you to use one of the ports that are easily accessible on the devices. They have new ones in new places to connect a drive, external drive. That'll work. It's also really tiny. It's a 5x5x2, and it has two USB-C ports, a headphone jack on the front, three Thunderbolt 4 ports, HDMI, and an Ethernet jack on the back. But the funny thing is, I don't know if you've seen this, the on-off button is underneath the device. It's under it.
Has it, like, in the previous models, has it always been under?
No, they just figured, we're gonna do this one thing that'll annoy everybody, and just put this right under the device.
Okay, interesting.
So, it's like, what is the magic mouse? Is that what it is? Where the charging is underneath the mouse?
Oh yeah,
something like And so with this, if you want to turn it on and off, you have to like reach under it and then just turn it off.
Okay, interesting. So, do you think you'll be getting it, or because I don't have a Mac Mini myself, but I have been considering. Do you think this will be the one for me?
Well, the entry level is $599. If you're a student, it's $499, which you can order through Apple. It's just a really solid entry level computer at a great price. Like my mom, if she was looking for a computer, I bought her one a few years ago, and I buy her one every few years. I would get this for her because I wouldn't edit videos on it like we do sometimes when we're not here. But it would be great for pretty much anything else that like a normal person would do. Not for gamers.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a nice little all-in-one. And it's Apple, so it's going to last a very long time and retain its value a very long time, unlike some other devices from other companies.
Okay. Not sure if I was right there, but
okay. I just had to slide that in there.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. So next topic, let's talk about Google could potentially lose Android. So this one, I have a really controversial take on this. So the U.S. Department of Justice is looking into splitting Android and Chrome away from Google in response to an antitrust concerns, believing Google holds too much power over mobile search and advertising. Now, Android itself isn't really a moneymaker for Google. Instead, it's mainly just a vehicle to boost Google services and gather data for ads. Running Google is expensive, and without Google, it's probably unlikely that any other company would take on the cost to keep it running. I'm sure Apple would love to see Android crash and burn, but if Android gets split from Google, it might struggle to stay competitive, and users could start looking for other options. So I know you're not an Android user, but this does.
I have the TV.
Oh, that's right.
The TV.
I guess I'll give you that, Justin.
Thank you.
I'll give you that. You have the TV. He has the T, everyone. So Google potentially losing Android and Chrome. How do you feel about that?
Good. Companies have too much power, and there's no competition when you're at the top. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like I told that story. This is me showing my age again, where I was living in New York with my roommates, and my one roommate used to work for a company, and his dad was like big into stock, and he goes, "There's this company called Google, and they're selling stock at $74 a share, $75 a share. You want in?" And I'm like, I just use Alta Vista and search. I never even use Google. So, now I'm poor. So I wish I had a bit, where was that foresight? But in that time, they've grown a lot. Did you hear that they had, I think it was at one of their offices, they had a "Don't Be Evil" written on the end. And they removed it. So, but I feel like it's way too invasive. Like, I'm not even a high security person. I just think that their whole business is just selling ads and dominating things. They can't beat Apple, but I do think they do need to break that up a little bit.
Okay. Now, see, my take on it is I'm fine with it. I'm fine. And maybe that's because I'm
How
an Android
dare
user.
you?
I'm an Android user, so I'm fine with it. I, of course, do not want Android to get into the hands of, I don't know, Microsoft or some other company, or God forbid, Apple buys it just to let it like die off. But yeah, I'm fine with Google having Android. Chrome, everyone, do you use Safari?
No.
Oh, interesting, interesting. So Chrome being like the default browser on most devices, or like when you get a computer, people always just switch to Chrome. I'm fine with Google having control over that. I mean, it works great. Now, back in the day, I did use other browsers like Opera. Did you ever use?
Opera. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah. You weren't expecting that. Yep, I used to use Opera. Were you?
What a large market share of users that the Opera has.
But what other browsers did you use? Like back in
I switch browsers all the time. And initially I used
really?
to use we used to have Netscape back in the day.
Okay.
It was like that was like pretty much it. But what ended up happening is that now we use I use Brave and
Okay.
Firefox. I've been trying to get away from just I try to switch it up. I do not use Chrome.
Oh.
It's I don't like when I'm like messaging one of my friends. Hey, did you see the Equalizer last night with Queen Latifah? And then
Mm.
suddenly I see ads about the
Oh.
Equalizer with Queen Latifah and a different. I'm like, what? Are you reading my messages, Google? But yeah,
Mm.
it weirds me out.
Okay. Firefox is interesting. You might be one of maybe two or three people that I've heard that actually uses
Well,
Firefox.
it's actually a very secure browser.
Okay.
It's more secure than Chrome,
Oh,
as Chrome watches you and observes everything that you do.
okay. You might have got me there. You might have got me there.
There's a file. There's a file at Google HQ with Emmanuel Baker written on it.
Okay. And you know what? At this point, I'm fine with that because I feel like we're being tracked
Oh, okay.
everywhere. I am. I'm really fine with that. I
No,
mean,
it's fine.
yeah. I mean,
No, it's fine. It really is.
it is. It is. It's really fine because
It's like a trying to keep yourself off of Google. Period.
yeah,
It
it's
is very
hard.
trying to keep your images hidden. How you grew up with them? It's just a
Yeah.
part of the fabric of life. Every now and then I search my name and this ugly picture of me will come up from like 15 years ago, and I'm like, it's just there now. I accept it.
No, literally same. There was, I think it was maybe like my 13th or 14th birthday. And I like updated my profile picture for like my Google account, and I have not been able to get it changed ever since. So anytime I connect anything to like my Google account, there's just like baby face 13-year-old picture of me in the Benihana bathroom with a red tiled wall background pops up. Cannot get rid of it.
Well, it's
So
there for life.
it's there for life. So, okay. But Justin, let's back to one of your topics.
Oh my gosh, the MacBook Pro, 2024
Ooh.
MacBook Pro M4. Here's the thing. I do not use Mac laptops unless I'm using them professionally. Like for my
Okay.
personal one, I'm a gamer.
Okay.
But the starting price is $15.99. Features a 10-core CPU, 10-core GPU, 16 gigs of RAM again, but not 256. Thank goodness. They only do that on their, Mac Mini models, 512
Mhm.
gigabyte SSD. It's there's a new black finish option, so you can look to keep
Ooh.
it sleek and slick. And
Mm.
there's also a 12 megapixel camera with center stage functionality as well. And I know how much you love the center face.
Oh, of
They should have
course.
called it center face.
That's the one change.
Why didn't that happen?
We'll have to write a letter.
Yeah, yeah. There's also a 64% increase in Cinebench from the M3 model, a 20%
Ooh.
improvement in single core performance, and a 25% faster improvement with the GPU benchmarks. Last over 12 hours as well.
Ooh. Okay. Now,
So that's a
see,
whole trip.
yeah, I might have to upgrade because, see, personally, even though I am, the Android fanboy, I do use a MacBook Pro, basically professionally and just for normal web browsing. So this one, I'm really loving the amount of storage that we're getting. Because yeah, I might have to upgrade to this one. So what MacBook do you currently use, and would you upgrade to this one?
None. I don't use a MacBook. I have a
Oh, that's right.
desktop.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
And at work, I use my Lenovo Legion.
Mm.
But that's only because I said, I don't care if it's a Mac or a PC. They're like, well, what do
Mm.
you use at home? I'm like, PC. And they're like, we're going to get you a PC. I'm like, okay. It's also a really good deal. That's the one thing I can say
Okay.
about longevity of these things is that, Macs retain their value for a very long time, but they're not as upgradable as some desktops, of course. But with these laptops from, PC based laptops, they lose their value very quickly.
Yeah.
But they are cheaper.
Yeah. And I see, I have a story. So my first laptop was like a Lenovo, I think that's how you pronounce it, laptop. And then I finally upgraded to a MacBook Pro 20. It was like a 2015 model. And it just died out on me. Like the battery has needed to get changed or updated for the longest. Have not taken it to the Apple Store. And now I think maybe a couple weeks ago, it just completely will not turn on now. So I'll probably be forced to upgrade for a newer MacBook. But yeah, I mean, that one lasted for a really long time. So this one, I think, might be the one for me. I mean, as long as I can edit my videos, watch my Netflix, I don't need to do anything too crazy. So I won't need like the super, super high, amount of, storage or anything like that. But this might be the one for me, Justin.
Is it? Is it really? I would get it, but like I said, I'm a gamer, so I'm still not that. It's not gonna replace my what is it, 4070 Super that I use,
Okay.
and I play some crazy games. All
Mhm.
my cozy games will
Okay.
not will not run. Yes, they will, but I do occasionally want to put like a Dragon's Age or something like that, and
Okay.
that's going to be a little too much for them playing at the frame rate that I want to play at.
Oh, okay. So you feel like the MacBook Pros are kind of lacking for the gamers out there? It definitely,
I
if you're a
think they
gamer,
always have.
mm,
You can play games on them.
because they advertise that a lot. When they
They
announce them, there's
do.
always a whole section just about gaming.
And why do they do that? Because they know that we all think that you can't play games on it. But the reason we think that is because it's true. That I have 240 frame rate on my monitor with my extra. Like, it's not gonna be doing that.
Mm,
Even though my car can only do 1440p at 120 something or other. But yeah.
okay. So,
Also, upgradability. I've had
mm,
this desktop under my desk, which
mm,
isn't my work desktop. I've had it for years. All I do is just replace the parts, rebuild it,
okay.
get a new video card, get a new Wi-Fi card, just replace different memory.
Mm,
Going to upgrade that. Going to upgrade the processor. I can't do all that with
yeah.
any of the Mac line, but
Yeah.
that's not a bad thing
That's true. That's true.
because the parts will always work and be compatible if they're always from the same company.
Yeah. And yeah. And what was the price point for this again?
I was at $15.99 for
Okay.
the starting.
Okay, I feel like that's basically been the price point for, all the Pro MacBooks.
I was going to say that's the price point of my laptop. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully Santa will put one of those under my Christmas tree because I don't have the money to buy that.
me either. We're not like other people who
Mhm.
review products and we're like, oh yeah, this is $25,000. I have like
Mhm.
four of them. No,
Yeah.
that's not happening.
No, unfortunately not us. But now let's jump into some more Android tea. So the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. So this one there, it's basically the entire phone has leaked at this point, but I'm going to run down some of the upgrades and new features. And I want to get your thoughts on it and if it's something that you would actually consider upgrading to as an Apple user. So it's expected, Samsung usually launches their phones in like January, February. The price is expected kind of to stay similar or increase a little bit. So the screen is going to increase to 6.9 inches, which is an upgrade from 6.8 with the Ultra. Now, the design is going to go back to the more curved body design that the Note series had, which I currently use, the Note 20 Ultra. I've had her since 2020, and she has not done me wrong at all. So, and I was always one of the people that really loved the curved aspect of the Note series, and even like when Samsung first introduced the curved phones, I always really loved that. But I know some people didn't like it because it was uncomfortable holding in your hands, and sometimes you might press, your palm might press a button, but we nothing's perfect, nothing's perfect. But yeah, it's gonna have that curved, rounded design, and then titanium frame colors. Titanium, black, blue, and green. I love blue, so I'm happy with that. So the main camera sensor is going to stay the same as the S24. Very disappointing. But the ultra wide lens is going to upgrade from 12 megapixels to 50 megapixels, which is nice. Thank you for upgrading something. When it comes to some of the performance and the hardware, we are going to get the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipsets. When it comes to some of the storage, it is going to get 1 terabyte of storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM. And the battery is rumored to basically stay the same also. So my one issue is that some of these specs and features are basically the same as the S24 Ultra. I've always kind of felt that Samsung and Apple are kind of like stuck in just making tiny, very minuscule upgrades to the phones. It's either we're going to upgrade the camera this year, or in 3 years or 4 years, Apple will maybe move the camera notch or make it a little bit smaller. So with these rumors, would you ever consider upgrading to a Samsung Galaxy phone?
No. What I would upgrade to is that giant unfoldable phone, because that looks cool.
Yes, the Galaxy Fold. Now, you wouldn't get a flip? Were you never, like back in the day, did you not enjoy the flip phones? Because I had
We
one.
left those behind
Really?
with bell bottoms and afros. I don't need a flip phone. I don't see the point in it.
Okay.
It made a cool noise,
Yeah.
I guess, but it was inefficient for me.
Yeah. So my mom, she actually had an Android for the longest. Then she got Apple, and then the flip came out. So she was like, Emmanuel, you got to get me the flip. So I got it for her. And of course, there was just like a bunch of issues with like transferring over the stuff from the iPhone and all of that stuff. But she really, really likes it now because it's a conversation starter. Like, OMG, your phone flips open. But I have been considering getting the Fold because I don't know, like I love having all of that screen space, but I do have a tablet. I have the Galaxy S10 Plus tablet, and I use that for just like watching movies. But would you ever consider, do you feel like Apple will ever dive into that market with the foldables?
Maybe in about 15, 20 years.
Okay.
Then it'll be time. Look, they are slow at innovating. But they like to do it right.
Yeah.
But it's what I did do is I got off the hamster wheel that is upgrading every year. I don't care about you. When I used to have the 4, the 4S, the 5, the 5, I'm like, I used to be like, oh, I'm going to get the new one. I'm going to get the new one. Now I'm like, you know what? My phone's still running. I don't need a new one. When my battery starts to not like stay charged, that's when I buy a new iPhone. I'm on the 15 right now. So I have the 16. I have the 15 Pro Max. My child right here. And I need to change the wallpaper. It's still a pumpkin. But the whole thing is, I didn't feel the need to go to a 16, and I may not even get the 17 unless there's something new that I can't live without. Plus, as I did see a rumor that the new one will have a display on the back.
Really?
Yeah, like a little tiny. Yeah, what?
Oh, no, I was going to bring up another rumor that I saw that they're going to be making with the 17, there's going to be a slim version. I don't know if you've heard about that one.
I have heard that.
Okay.
I put it out my mind.
Okay. Yeah. And Samsung is also considering making a slim version of the S25 Ultra. Now, I don't know about you. I really don't care how slim the phone is. So I'm
Yeah,
not
that's why I'm like,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Maybe this will be, it'll cost less or something like that. But a screen on the back, I actually might switch over to Apple if they could do that.
I'm like,
Cause,
oh, looks
yeah.
cute.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of us, like when I go out, I put my phone,
Hmm.
hit my mic real hard. And when I go out, I put my phone down on its face.
Hmm.
That because I don't want people to look. I don't know what's going to pop up on my screen. Not that
Yeah.
I'm like reading my messages all up in my business. So, but it'd be nice if I could still like see the time and other things like on the back of the
Yeah.
phone. And I've seen that before, so it'd be a
Okay.
nice if it happens
Okay.
at
Now,
some point.
yeah. Now, do you have an Apple Watch?
No, I do not have a watch, but I do
Really?
have two iPads.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, the wealth, everyone. The wealth.
no, I had one that was like it got older, and I used it for like a teleprompter.
Mhm.
Then I
Okay.
have like the big one for
Okay.
drawing, which I never
Okay.
do. So
Mm.
that's, I'm gonna draw all the time with my Apple Pencil too. Oh, look at this! It's so big. I don't even do that.
Really? Okay. So, what's stopping you from getting the Apple Watch?
I don't like time.
Oh, explain.
I don't. No, it's because it's a little redundant for me
Okay.
because I look at my phone.
Mm.
I also have great time sense, so I
Oh,
usually know exactly what time it is. People are like, "What time is it?" I'll just tell them. Like, how you
okay.
know that? I don't know. I just do.
Okay. Interesting. So, you're a part of the X-Men. Got you.
Well, yeah,
I,
pretty much. No, I have ADHD too.
okay.
That's a pretty big thing. Because when I used to
Mm.
wear a watch all the time, I used to look at it every 5 seconds, but I wouldn't actually pay attention to what was on it. It was just an action I did. So one
Mhm.
night in the editing lab, when I was in college, took my
Mhm.
watch off, threw it across the room, haven't worn one since.
Really? Okay. And I never really thought about that. I have the Galaxy Watch. I can't remember which. It's definitely not the newest one, but I'm pretty happy with it. But I do feel you on like just kind of like for me, I think sometimes if I see the time or if I have a lot of things going on, sometimes if I like have my watch, I have my phone, have all these things that are showing me the time, it can be a little overwhelming because I'm just like, oh my God, I have 15 minutes to do this. So I definitely get, not needing a watch or for the people that, might have ADHD, it could be a little bit too much. I actually
Like,
feel like, did I hear that? I might have to confirm this that Prince, I heard a story. I was watching this interview by FKA Twigs, love her, and she was
okay,
talking about how Prince in his like home studio, he did not keep like clocks or
I've
time.
heard that.
Okay, that is true. That is true. So that just made me think of you.
Did you hear about Prince and the Camel?
No.
Kevin Smith told his story. He was making like a
Mhm,
documentary on Prince,
mhm,
and Prince asked one of his people to get him a camel at like
mhm.
3 a.m. or something, like some insane time at night.
Okay.
And it didn't. He was like, "How did he do?" And how are you going to find a camel this late at night in Minneapolis? I don't think that's
Oh,
going to happen. But it's
okay.
what he wanted.
Wow. And he got it?
I don't know. I don't remember the rest of the story.
Okay.
For all I know, I could have just changed the entire story. Prince wanted a baseball bat, and that, like, I
Mm,
don't know, something's
okay.
crazy, but I'm pretty sure it was a camel.
Okay.
See, now I
Okay.
gotta look it up. See,
Right.
this is the beauty of technology. But I do have a question for you. Have you ever been able to go for a few days without technology?
Ooh, that is such a hard question. Now, I am Gen Z, unfortunately. So I literally sleep with my phone. It's the first thing I check when I wake up. But I've gone a couple of days without certain apps like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr for the ones that still use that. I've gone a few days without certain apps, but technology, I don't know. Like, I don't think I could actually go like a full day without like physically touching my phone or anything like that. Yeah, I know it's bad. It's
Well,
bad.
let me tell you about the '80s. You
Okay.
see, we couldn't do any of this stuff. So, but I was barely alive in the '80s. And yes, it was Prince wants a camel at 3 a.m. in January in Minneapolis.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
like, I miss that guy.
Yes. But yeah, I definitely am always connected to some form of technology. But for you, but I mean, I remember back in the early 2000s, and I feel like this is what these kids these days, am I right? Um,
Ah,
the youth, the iPad kids. Like when I was growing up, we played outside. We played with sticks, we climbed the trees, we went to the playground. Maybe we went, to the library, read some books, but we were not like always, we didn't have the technology. We maybe had a flip phone and that was it. But also, like, my mom didn't get me, like, my first phone was a flip phone, and that was only for my sixth grade trip to, the apple orchard. So I could call her if I needed anything. So there wasn't like this big push to like give me all the technology that was available. So I feel like that's what's different about the youth these days is that, like, everyone's going to have an iPhone or a tablet to keep the kids busy. And then as you get older, you have it already ingrained in your mind that, like, I need to wake up and check this or this notification or this app, or, you know what I
it's
mean?
disgusting to me. But like I didn't get my first cell phone until college. And
Really?
that was because I had to, as other
Okay.
kids had them. And I
Okay.
wasn't too keen on it. It was like, Justin, where were you? I called you at home. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not at home. I'm at class. Well, why don't you have a cell phone? But there's a show called
Mhm.
The X-Files, which
Okay.
of course people have heard of.
Yes.
But this little show called The X-Files, that was
Yeah.
all. We remember that show.
Yeah, we
But
heard of
it's
it.
funny. I rewatched it during the height of the pandemic during lockdown,
Mm.
from the first season to the last. And at first, they did not have cell phones. And then they had cell phones like towards the end of the series because they came into fashion. And
Yeah.
it's so funny how many things could have been solved if they had had a cell phone. They'd be like,
Right.
oh, Scully's not here, and there's something right in front of me. I got to go find a phone. And then
Mhm.
he would run around try to find a payphone, and he would call on a payphone. Then you have to run back, and the thing would be gone. Now I'll be like, hey, Scully, there's a creature in front of me, and like, so the writing had to become smarter. Oh,
Right.
we have to hurry up and reach this person before. How do we reach these people to tell them? Now you just call them.
You could have
So
FaceTimed them.
it's so weird.
Yeah, you could have seen.
Payphones, rip.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you like the X-File movies?
I did not particularly care for them.
Mm.
I did watch the revival.
Okay. I didn't hear great things about the ending.
There were not great things about that ending.
Okay.
I just watched to see what happened to her son because I knew they had an
Okay.
episode about that. But
Okay. Well, yeah, but all right, let's jump back into one of your topics, Justin, because I could
like
talk
me.
about the X-File.
Alrighty then. AMD. Are you an A? Well, you're neither. You're an Apple person. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I know. The one time.
I switched to Ryzen, and now the AMD's Ryzen 7 9800X3D CPU has crazy performance. I have like a 3900X in my desktop.
Okay.
Like Ryzen's always been more affordable, and they've always like I don't want to say they've always been more powerful, but in the past few years they have got more powerful than anything that
Mhm.
has been put out by any other company. There's only two other ones. But yeah, Cinebench score 30,513, 36% increase over PBO scores. I have a 4070 Super, and it would be so nice to
Ooh,
have this to sing because I'm a little limited right now
okay.
with my old chip. But
Okay.
it's also affordable. I think that's what makes it interesting that they put out a chip that does really well
Ooh.
on max settings at many games, frames per second. What does it say here? They got a 1,262 FPS average on a 1080p for Counter
Mhm.
Strike 2, which is just crazy. But
Mm.
it is launching at a 479 just for the chip, and it's
Okay.
a wonderful chip. You couldn't do that with other companies.
Oh,
Um, and I don't overclock either, but you can overclock this one to 6.9 gigahertz using some cooling.
okay. And what was the price point?
479.
Oh, that's I with everything you were describing, I thought that was going to be, and excuse me if you had already said it, but when you were breaking down all the specs, I was like, this has to be like $1,000, $1,500.
Because it would be with other companies.
Yeah.
But AMD, they've been, they got some voodoo magic in their technology.
Okay.
So they're good.
Okay. And great for gaming, I'm assuming.
It's wonderful for gaming because
Okay.
I can't do that with my card. I
Okay.
can't get over 2,000 frames per second in a game like Valorant. I can't do that.
Okay.
But with this chip, you can reach the heights that your video card will allow you to reach.
Okay. Now,
No
see,
bottlenecking.
oh, okay. Now, I'm not a gamer, but Sims, do you think I could play Sims like
Oh, you can hang out with the goths all you want.
Yes.
Sims
Okay.
people are very serious about the Sims.
Oh, very serious. I very lightly have played, but I have some friends that like they have canceled plans on me because they had to go tap into the Sims. Yes, and I never understood it. Are you a Sims player?
I have been.
Okay.
I just have a hard time focusing on one thing for more than once, unless I'm playing a
Okay.
cozy game where I'm
Okay.
building a farm, because I'm at that age. So
Okay.
cozy game age is what we call it.
Okay. Now, what is your main game that you play? Your go-to?
I'm playing. I'm going back to Plum Grove, which is
Okay.
my cozy game that I'm currently playing. And I also want to play this other one that's coming out soon. But yeah. Anyways, Enshrouded is already out, but I want to play that.
Okay.
And that one will require, but that's not a cozy game per se. But it is a building game. I like games where I could build houses and stuff.
Okay.
And that's all I watch on YouTube is just people building houses. So
you watch the YouTube videos of like people actually playing the games?
I have watched those.
Okay.
So yeah.
I have watched some games where it's like first person player and like they're all horror. So that's
I was
like
gonna say that's
yeah,
you.
that's me. Now watching them at night, I cannot do. But I have watched, a couple people play some very terrifying games at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I can't even look at TikTok at night without getting a scary story. I'm not playing a game.
Really?
I'm involved in it.
Okay. That's the best time to watch those TikToks. But I understand. But so our final topic, Samsung copying Apple's design. So this is some tea from like earlier in the year. So a little lukewarm, but I think it, is a good way to end this episode. So Samsung's chairman, JY Lee, isn't too happy with the mobile division for making products that look a little too similar to Apple. Not surprised. The main offenders are the Galaxy Buds 3 and the Galaxy Watch Ultra, which launched earlier this year, which have really, really strong similarities to Apple's AirPods and the Apple Watch Ultra. Now, he was very upset and he basically wanted the design team to reevaluate what they were doing. So we should expect the next Galaxy AirPods and Apple Watch to have a little bit of a design change that is less Apple inspired. Now, this is not the first time that Samsung has had, Apple copying allegations, unfortunately. But I was really, yes, air quotes. But with the Galaxy Buds 3, I was really surprised that they went with that design because I have the Galaxy Beans, and I did get the Galaxy Buds 2. He's pulling them out. What do you got?
I have my M4s. Not my M4s. My earbuds. So
Okay. Now, question for you: do those earbuds actually stay in your ear? Okay. Same.
Everybody asked me that question. No.
Okay. Interesting. Because with the Galaxy Buds 2, which I have, those do not stay in my ear. And I had to revert back to the Galaxy Beans, which I thought were really cute. I love the design. These ones actually stay in my ear, but they are a little older. But it was interesting because I've always heard people complain about Apple's AirPods not staying in your ear. So it was interesting that Samsung would decide to copy that design. What do you think about, how do you feel about, the copying of Apple with Samsung and all these other companies, Google included?
Imitation is the most sincerest form of flattery.
Flattery, yes.
And I don't think Apple themselves are upset. They're probably like patting themselves in the back. Like, we made something so goofy looking, so appealing to so many people. And now everyone wants to have these things that only fit in one of your ears, but maybe not the other, working for them. And yeah, I hate it. It's I like the sound, but these don't stay in my ear. So I don't.
You just use one, like only one stays in your ear, or
That's what ends up happening. I have one in one ear, and the other one I'll put it in and falls out. Like, am I a mutant? What is wrong with my skull that only one of my ears could contain these buds?
And so have you like tried out different earbuds? Like, have you, ever tested out like, oh, no, he's loyal to Apple. See?
I have.
See?
You can't see it in this shot, but I have a whole rack of headsets that I usually wear. So like when I'm out, I wear my earbuds. When I'm at home, I put on my cans.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I would never switch over to the Apple ones, but I
How dare you?
do. I know. I mean, they don't stay in your ear, but I mean, I can't say anything about Samsung either because they're copying Apple's design, and who knows if those stay in your ear. And I don't know if you had heard this, but when Samsung put out the Galaxy Buds 3, there was issues with some of the tips and there was just like a lot of like spec issues with the products that they were sending out. So they had to pause production. And I was just like, Samsung, why? This is another L for Samsung. Not to bring it up, I'm sure we all remember the exploding batteries. It was a dark time.
I didn't bring it up.
I know you didn't, but I
was thinking it.
I know you were thinking it, and I know everyone listening or watching was probably thinking it too. But yeah, that's one thing about Samsung and Google that I can never understand, and I wish they would start to implement what Apple does: is take your time. Take your time. You do not have to rush. And I really wish that overall the companies would actually maybe put out a phone every other year, or I don't know. Well, you have to tell me what you think about that. But with the recent iPhone 16, not a lot really changed. And I feel like the conversation right now is just like, hey, we really do not need to upgrade at all. And, the Apple cult is starting to finally break free and, think for themselves, no shade. But how would you feel if like Apple or Samsung or Google, actually waited a year or two to put out these devices to actually make real changes that you yourself might want to actually upgrade to?
Like, what would we write about? Because everybody loves those events. Woo! But I'm not gonna get it. So they can chill. Maybe they do a every other year release cycle for their products. But there are still enough people that will try and get them every single year. So there's no reason for them to do that. I'm fine with it, but I can see why they don't.
Yeah. Samsung, please just do better because it's hard to defend you. It was really embarrassing. Now I didn't own the exploding phone, but that was really embarrassing. Which now Apple, I feel like you guys had an issue where the phones were bending. Did I remember that correctly? Or was there a color issue?
There was an issue with the color. That happened because they were experimenting with white.
Okay.
And the white turned yellow. But that was a long time ago, man.
Oh,
we've moved forward.
Okay. Now I could have sworn there was an issue with like the phones bending, but maybe I'm just making that up. Maybe
phones sometimes bend.
Okay.
And it's okay.
Okay.
Just don't do this and you're good.
Okay.
But they stayed in one piece.
And
didn't. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I've got we mentioned the ColorSoft.
Yes.
That was my last topic, the Amazon Kindle ColorSoft, which is Amazon's new e-ink reader. E-rink reader. What the heck is that? But that's e-ink reader for $280. It's basically the same as other products, but finally color. Even though other companies have had, color e-ink tablets to read things on. This is Kindle's first. Are you an e-ink reader person?
No, I've always considered it, but yeah, I've just always like enjoyed having everything in color. But for you, do you care either way whether you like I never really understood the draw of the e-ink. Like can you break that down for me?
It's easy on the eyes.
Okay.
It's easier to read in the sunlight.
Okay.
It looks like paper if you're
Okay.
into that paper feel. But like with my, I don't have any reason to get one because I have
Okay.
an iPad. But if I read more, I would get
Mhm.
one because if I'm out in the sunlight,
Mhm.
my iPad ain't having it. It's too much
Okay.
glare, too much reflectivity. Also, I don't like to
Mhm.
look at blue light at night because it
Mhm.
keeps you up. So I
That's
do
true.
have a Kindle Paperwhite though that I look at
Okay.
night. So this would be color. It might be interesting, but
Oh,
it's still apparently not as you know good as the color as the Kobo Libra. It's
okay.
time to end the show, is what I'm saying here. It's not as good as some other e-readers. I have used the Kobo, but not for a very long time. But
Oh,
yeah, I think it's worth noting that this is the first time that they are making a foray into color, and it's also uh, a lot long overdue. So these companies just not innovating fast enough, it seems. But
okay.
yeah,
To wrap up the episodes, we're going to do this thing what we call Is This Tea Hot or Cold? So basically, if it's hot, it means that the topic or something we talked about you think is a big deal in tech or something that's here to stay or will shape future conversation. If it's cold, you're calling it, a trend that will fizzle out or, a tech fad. So Justin, out of everything that we talked about, what did you feel was hot or cold?
just obliterating Google
Mm.
as their domination over everything. I think that's hot. I think it's going to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate it for Google. I hate it for Google. For me, I feel like, ooh, that's so hard to. I think a hot topic, the hot tea was definitely Samsung copying Apple. That I feel like has been something that they've been fighting those allegations for years and years. So I'm really interested to see like what they do to actually make changes to separate themselves from Apple because they do have the foldables, they do have the flips, but for the earbuds, the watches, maybe it's just that Apple perfected the design and that's like as far as they can take it. But I'm really interested to see where they take that. I feel like that was like some really hot tea that we talked about.
The hottest.
Yeah. But that wraps up the first episode of the Tech and Tea podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this and stay tuned. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for listening.